listening to Around Comics.
Are listening to Around Comics. You're also watching Around Comics live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter,
TikTok,
an old television set somewhere. I don't know where else.
New camera angles.
New camera angles.
Joe G got me in the spirit, man. It's like overture, curtain lights. This is it, the night of nights.
I rearranged my camera so that I have a 2-monitor system here. So now you're up on the big monitor.
Ooh.
Because when I used to put you on the big monitor, the problem is that if I'm looking at the monitor, it looks like I'm looking above you guys constantly, as opposed to like actually at you. So,
oh God, Tactical Chris is already.
Oh
here.
no,
we know you're looking down at us, Tom. Don't try and fool us.
Hi everyone, happy Thursday.
I can't get my camera right, and
you're fine.
Happy new Around Comics Day. It's episode 406.
It's a holiday now.
I before we
do 2, 3, 22.
Hey, I heard that Tom saw his shadow this week, so it's 6 more weeks of Around Comics.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow, we're just pulling out all the stops tonight. Hey, I wanted to let people know, because I know some people have been asking. I've been slowly trying to upload all the old episodes. I think I'm at episode 159, so everything from 159 to now is now on the feed, so on iTunes and Spotify and all those places that you find podcasts. I'm down to 159, so I have 159 more episodes to upload. But I'm doing.
I just listened to the John Byrne interview on loop,
just over and over and over,
just over and over again,
again.
I almost was going to listen to the Roy Thomas part 1 and part 2. Yeah, I was going to listen to that today, but I didn't get a chance to. That's up there.
Yeah, Tom was on that one. You had to come over to my house for that one, didn't you, Tom?
I came over to your house.
Yeah.
I left alive. Not many people do.
It's like
once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gene Colan one is still one of my all-time favorites. Gene Colan,
get that recorded?
Denny O'Neil. Yeah. Do what?
Did we actually get the Gene Colan one recorded?
Yeah, we did that at the Dark Tower. Now you look like you're a fucking mob.
You're out of focus.
I'm in the witness protection.
Yeah, you need to change your voice and say, and that's whenever I did the drug deal and we had to go and kill all 8 of them.
I didn't know that he was an FBI agent.
The thing that with this new camera angle, I can put my feet up on my desk and relax.
Very nice.
Usually so tense.
Yeah, we want you to really be very relaxed and chill.
No, if I fall asleep,
this could be a problem. We're gonna draw a dick on your face if you fall asleep. So you know.
Back in the EOC days, if that was a video show, no, not gonna happen. Because
Chris would be sleeping. What, you mean you couldn't do 4 hours every week?
I think I played most of Elder Scrolls. Recording that show.
You know, this is what happens.
I played a lot of Skyrim.
Wow. No wonder they kicked you off of that show. I understand it now.
So yeah, it's February. We're officially through winter's most brutal month, I guess, and we can see some.
February can be bad.
It's fucking cold up here. I'll tell you that right now. It's just fucking cold. But we've had.
Hey, everyone, tell us what you think the most brutal month of winter is.
I was going to say, we have had some awesome comics to warm us up.
Oh, it was a segue.
It was a segue.
Tom, how dare you step on?
Well, I don't think I ruined anything. That's like comics to warm you up, like you're wrapped in them.
Okay,
my cockles.
advertising
Burning them?
agency copywriter. Why don't you segue us into some comic stuff?
You just start talking about him.
All right.
It warmed
Well,
my
Shakespeare.
cockles.
As I set fire to these comics. Burning.
All right, Sabertooth, number 1, go.
Sabertooth.
Number
Sabertooth.
1. Yeah, we could start with that, I
I
guess.
think we all read that, right?
I did. Well, after Tom mentioned it, I did read it.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
wanted-
I was like, Tom's reading a Sabertooth comic book?
It-
What is
I
going
thought
on
you-
here?
No, it's nothing that Tom reads ever shocks or surprises me. It would be like, yeah, this week I read a little Richie Rich, and
Yeah.
the next week it's like, yeah, I went back through like Black Summer. You know.
I give it a shot. The author, seems interesting. He's from like the world of literature. I always like Leonard Kirk, like he's got good, it's that nice art. I will say that this book is like, it's sort of a classic case of like, oh, they're doing something kind of interesting.
Right.
And then like, oh, no, they're not. Like halfway through, like, oh, I thought this was going to be, I mean, the idea being, with the start of all the like the Hickman X-verse, Krakoa stuff, like they banished Sabertooth to like some nether worlds, right? Where because he killed a human. And by the way, Marvel, your summary page at the beginning had 2 massive typos that I was just like, this is not a good start. that you misspelled humans without the N. And I'm just like, oh my god, okay.
Well, maybe they just like
whoever's editing this book.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, right? So the idea being that Sabertooth's sort of like been banished, and like Doug Ramsey and Krakoa take like kind of pity on him, right? And like are like, well, we think your punishment's actually too much. That sure you shouldn't be free, but your mind, you shouldn't. Your brain.
There's some of them
operate,
liberal AGs that is ruining the mutant country. So
essentially, like
little
Sabertooth,
tactical Chris moment.
Sabertooth gets to live inside his mind, and what does he do is like Sabertooth kills everybody that pissed him off, right? So he goes and lives through that fantasy of like murdering all of his enemies. But then once he does that, it's like, oh, what do I do next, right? And that was at the part where I was sort of like, oh, this is going to get kind of interesting, because there's also some really interesting sort of text pieces in it where Sabertooth is like thinking about what prison is about. And I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting, like not what I'm expecting. And then by the end I was like, yeah, it's actually
he just decided to become the devil.
Yeah,
he is the ruler of hell.
Because I was like, oh, is this book going to be, I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. Like, so if Sabertooth gets to be whatever he wants to be, like, what is he going to pick to be? Like, is he going to be like a Conan the Barbarian or like a space hero? And they just kind of fly through that to get to like, it's hell. I'm just like,
I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more the Sabertooth Starjammers.
Yeah. So I mean,
far
it was
more
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll read the second one to see what happens. But I mean, there's always the thing in an X book that I'm always like, they drop like 5 characters in who I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are, and I'm not sure.
At least
why
3 of them are going to die. At least 3 of them will die.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's significant, but I don't know why. Yeah, like, so it was just interesting because at first I was like, oh, like this wasn't what I was expecting. It's kind of cool. This could be, something really different. And then it was sort of like, yeah, nope. It's the next book.
Yeah, I was a little concerned with it. Like you're saying, it was sort of interesting, the idea of him, contemplating what is prison, what does it mean to be imprisoned or banished, and that was sort of an interesting thing. And then when it got to that part where he sort of, killed everyone he wanted to kill and had nothing really left to achieve, and then had to sort of figure out what he was going to do next, I was concerned, because my concern was like, well, what is it just going to be some sort of redemption? He
Yeah,
gets to contemplate what kind of a character he
Yeah.
was, what kind of a bad guy he was, that killing is no good, that and they're
Mhm.
going to sort of redeem Sabertooth. I'm like, oh god, really didn't want that.
Oh, you didn't
No.
get that.
But yeah, we didn't get that for sure. No, we did
Ah,
not
you're
get
good.
that.
You're safe. You're safe.
Yeah, it was like, oh, and it really was this weird moment of like at the end where it's like, oh, he's the devil. They're literally saying it's hell. Like it's not like he's going to be the devil of Krakoa, and it's like, okay, I guess
I'm kind of
that's
okay with
something.
Sabertooth just being the devil of
Yeah.
Krakoa.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a really good end for that
Maybe.
character.
It was
you
just
know?
it was like
Oh,
a
it
real
won't.
whiplash. It was like
Mhm.
a real whiplash moment of like, oh, okay.
Did
Okay.
you guys ever like get the popularity of that character? I mean, I understand.
Well, I mean, he was a Wolverine.
Yeah.
He was a Wolverine nemesis. I mean, he was a Wolverine type character where
You got to see a good Sabertooth in like Age of Apocalypse, right? So
Yeah.
it's like he's sort
Yeah,
of
it
gone
was-
through all the ringers.
he just kind of always felt. I mean, he's definitely on the B list for me, and
Yeah.
that's, I guess, okay.
I just thought it was funny to go from a book where I was like, oh, is this like about like prison? Like the idea of what punishment is, or like what does it mean to be punished? Like what's the purpose of it, right? Like, and then it was no, he
Not
created
that.
hell. Not that at all.
Yeah.
Well,
they
they
were on the verge of being profound, and it's like, fuck that,
or it was like I was just like, oh, this is gonna be not what I not what I would have guessed, like.
Well, it could still be.
It could, yeah,
to some degree.
sure.
I mean, because I think what it's still dealing with the theme of imprisonment and sort of incarceration, whether it's self-inflicted or just the cycle of it. You know what I mean? Like the cycle of how prison. It's interesting. I was watching. Have you guys ever watched 60 Days In? It's a reality TV show where basically normal people, usually they're like a cop or an ex gangbanger or something, and they voluntarily send them to prison in like not like a hardcore prison, but to jail. They send them to prison for like 60 days undercover to sort of quote unquote figure out what's going on and like get information and find out what's wrong and that kind of thing, with the idea of
like a terrible episode of Undercover Boss.
Yeah, it's it's reality TV. But I was watching it with my son and my wife were watching it, and I've gotten a little engaged with the show. It's but
you're sucked in.
The interesting thing about it in regards to just prison is just like the idea that prisons are no longer about rehabilitation. They're no longer about getting anyone out of them. It's just they're just
it's incarceration, and
it's incarceration. And it's money. I mean, it's about and it's an interesting thing. So I don't know. I mean, I guess there's still potential for Sabertooth to possibly still be profound, maybe. But it was a weird,
or like the idea of like, hey, we've made this place that's finally where all the mutants can live together, and like we figured it out except for you.
Yeah, except for one guy, and now it's more than one guy.
Now it's more than one guy, and it's like, so it's like, yes, we've figured out like how we can fit into this world, but that doesn't mean it doesn't really mean all of us. Like we say it means all of us, but it doesn't mean all of us. Like there are people we don't want to deal with, like, which is kind of like where it was starting with at the at the start of the book, was like the idea of just like they didn't want to deal with them, like their whole idea of like any of them, like the thing that got them thrown in jail is, right, it's like all the mutants essentially were like, everyone's welcome to join and we forgive everything you've done in the past, right? And Sabertooth then like killed a human while on a mission
because he had to do the dirty work that they didn't want to do.
And it was like, well, now it's illegal to kill human. You know, like it's interesting. I mean, and there's still room for that to talk about that. You know, of like there's always that. You know, there's that interesting tension of like we've made this utopia, and but don't look at like what we do to certain people who don't who don't like fit exactly what we're trying to do. You know, and like so yeah, definitely a chance for it to be still pretty interesting. It was just funny with the classic X-Men, like here's 6 feet characters dropped into hell, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like that great Justice League Unlimited episode where Lex Luthor takes over the Flash's body, and he's like pulls the mask off, and he's like, I don't know who this is. Like, I have no idea who this.
I will say, I will like to give a nod to Leonard Kirk. Some of the like, I don't know that I've ever seen Sabertooth shown to be more brutal in his, you know, sort of violence. Like some of the
face off of
the face ripping.
Bear.
The face ripping was the best.
He ripped the face off of a bear.
Not just a bear, when he did it to Cyclops. And
well,
then
that was awesome.
And
that's probably my favorite action sequence out of it, is to physically rip Cyclops' face off and then kill people with his faceless head.
That was an awesome scene.
It was awesome.
The art is fantastic.
You know, that's one where Leonard Kirk gets the script and he's like, oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, for sure. It was
I'm gonna read the next one. I mean, I'm intrigued enough to like see where it's going, but it was just a funny issue to be like,
it did have a weird turn there. It was just like, oh, all right. Well, I guess that's what we're doing now.
Okay. Not the only X book, I guess we'll call that. Would Sabertooth be classified as an X book? Yeah, it's
he's a mutant.
Totally an X book. Not the only.
Oh God, we lost.
Not the only X book that we read. I've got the omni-buy of Ecstatics behind me.
Ecstatics.
So there is a new Milligan,
Peter Milligan.
Yep. Book. It's the X-Cellent. Is that it?
X-Cellent #1. Yep.
The X-Cellent #1. And there was actually there was a prequel issue to this that came out. I kind of want to say 6 months or so ago. Do you guys remember that? It was a little one shot.
Was it like a free comic book day thing, or I don't remember it?
No,
I know you mentioned this book a couple of weeks ago or a week ago or so, and I was like looking forward to it. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it came out so soon, but I was glad.
Yeah, I think there was a little, you know, primer preview issue that came out. It was a little one shot that came out in the last year or so, and it was leading into this. But X-Cellent #1,
the Excellence.
The
yes,
X-Cellent.
The Excellent. Yeah.
I love getting the Marvel omnibus editions because they're great to go and thumb through every once in a while. They're great to, you know, it's great shelf porn. This is honestly probably the only omnibus edition that I read front to back is Ecstatics, because I had never read it whenever it came out. I was aware of it, but that was one of those was it late 90s, mid late 90s, right?
Don't ask me dates. I can't.
It was
I'm only going to embarrass myself.
It was kind of at a real downtime for comics, and I wasn't reading any X titles at that time. And Ecstatics comes out, and I think the only reason this book existed is because the industry had hit such bad straits at that point that Marvel was probably like, fine, whatever. We were going to cancel it, but we need to have a title on the shelves.
Do whatever you want with X-Force. You want to make it Ecstatics? Go right ahead.
Fine, go for it. And it turns into one of the most brilliant and poignant, you know, mainstream titles of that decade. And people to this day, it's almost if you could have a cult comic for the X-verse, this is the cult comic for X-Men fans and comic fans. And I think it's, for a lot of us, was the first time that we saw Mike Allred and Laura Allred as an art team, and they continue, you know, to do awesome work. So yeah, I was really excited for this first issue, and it's what you would expect out of an Ecstatics comic. It is weird and ridiculous, and, you know, almost weird for the sake of being weird, but oddly funny. I enjoyed it. You know, how about you guys?
It's like it's a spiritual cousin of One-Star Squadron. I feel like they're both
I like
spiritually
that.
of the same, both spiritually of the same place, where like even superheroes can't escape sort of like the shittiness of our modern world, and like all the like things we've created that are just like destroying us.
Yeah.
And even
a guy's
like,
got to make a buck, right? You know,
the fucking gig economy, and like how many followers you can get, you know, like, I don't know, having read both of those books, I was sort of like, yeah, it's sort of, it's like even the superheroes can't escape, you know, like being, you know, like the indignities of the modern world, you know, like there's no way, you know, not to sidetrack it, right? Because I thought they were such a great duo of books to read at the same time, right?
Oh,
of
for
like,
sure. Yeah.
There's the part of One-Star Squadron when, you know, Red Tornado is talking about like, oh, you know, when you sign up to be a hero, you're like, oh, the worst thing that can happen is that I die in battle. And it's like, oh, actually, no, the worst thing that can happen to you is you just become useless and like have no purpose. And it's sort of like, oh God, yeah, that's true. Like that is like sort of like the dread of like sort of permeating a bunch of stuff. I mean, I think Ecstatics is a little I mean, the X-Cellent's a little sillier and a little more
What I like about the X-Cellent is, you know, you talk about, you know, One-Star Squadron, and that's about like professional levels of incompetence, and then whenever you're no longer
needed, more men than anyone in that office.
right we're like the
second place, buddy. Sorry.
And the heckler. Yep.
So good. But the X-Cellent, you know, it's something that I feel, you know, as someone that works in marketing, someone that has to deal with social media, you know, there's a point where it's like, oh, he has 105 million followers, and then the question is why what, you know, what is the end goal? And I feel that at work a lot. It's, you know, it's just like, we need a lot of followers, and we need followers and likes, and I'm just like,
if we go fight him, he's only going to get more followers.
Yeah. Oh no. It's, you know, and it's like there's this weird, you know, like pseudo currency and power attached to, you know, follows and likes.
It's all fame. We're all whores. Everyone's a whore.
Yeah,
we're all whores. I mean, it's just, you know, what level of whore. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly. We are on
YouTube talking about why people want, you know, pseudo fame.
There are very few people on this
fucking irony. All right.
There are very few people that are immune to the you know, the idea of, you know, you are in some way or another you are trying to be noticed. Like everyone on this planet, unless, you know, I mean, everyone in, you know, position to be.
But this is the like hyper ridiculousness of.
But it's not ridiculous. It's not that ridiculous. That's the thing. It's only. It's just a bit.
They have so many followers. We have to stop them. We have to physically go and stop them because whatever they're doing, it's to get more followers. And it's ridiculous.
The thing that I loved about this issue, and what I was a little concerned going into it, was the idea that Ecstatics came out, you know, whatever it was, 10, 15, whatever, however many years ago. And I thought it was ahead of its time at that time, but I was kind of concerned. Are these guys going to be able to sort of still be topical and really, you know, kind of have the thumb on their pulse of today? And the reality is it's no fucking different. It's just more. It's, you know what I mean? Like there's no difference from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 70 years ago. I mean, you know, read books about like 1920s Hollywood and the stars and what they did in order to remain famous, you know, so it's no different. So the idea that like superheroes would fall into that same thing, why would you dress up in a costume to fight crime? You know, so it's a little metatextual. I was, you know, it's like that Watchmen thing of like, you know, examining heroes to some degree or putting them in the real world. And it can be a little sad because we want superheroes to be, you know, fantasy. But I think Ecstatics is, you know, is always, like you said, it's a little sillier. They're a little more mocking and a little more fun with it and a little more lighthearted. But
a little Legion of Superheroes ish.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
But the idea of like, you know, superheroes, and I think you saw it with The Boys. The Boys then took that to another, a little darker place in a lot of ways. But it is, I think we're just seeing sort of, you know, when superheroes came around, it was this fantasy. Like when Superman was created, it was this fantasy person that didn't exist in real life. And he went out and battled for truth, justice, and the American way, or however you want, you know, whatever you want to say. But, and it was this, like, this idea of this, you know, brightly colored character that was the fantasy of children. And now that's sort of like most of the public. It's like most of people, you know, it's like most people online on YouTube or Twitter or Twitch or, you know, Instagram models and people that are, you know, incredibly famous that I've quite honestly never heard of. You know, there's people that are, you know, super rich and
influencers,
and that doesn't, and I'm not saying that in a disparaging way. It's just the reality of like, I don't even know who this person is, but they're super successful at this thing. It's like that is the reality we live in. And it's this weird thing where it went from this complete fantasy of children to now the reality of like people are making careers out of you know, dressing up in costumes and doing things in front of a camera, you know, like,
nuts, right? It's
from
nuts.
home. It's a strange thing, but it's so, you know, very real, very normal for anyone under the age of, you know, 40.
Original publishing year for Ecstatics, 2001. So it's 20 years old, 20 plus years old.
Shit.
Ecstatics is over 20 years old.
We're old,
right?
I'm old,
right? Yeah.
It was really good though. I mean,
it's an awesome series.
It picked up right where Ecstatics left off. You know, the X-Cellent, and you know, I love how they're just able to sort of throw another team together and throw another, you know, like
I love one of my favorite part of the book is whenever I forget who was asking. It's like, well, you know why they have this new character has joined the team, right? The one that the Berlin Wall, I'm sure, is going to be her, you know, her superhero name or whatever. And it's like, well, you know, for, you know, boosting numbers and protection, obviously she builds walls. And it's like, no, man, you know, they're gonna kill this person. You know, that's part of our gig is that people die. And that was hilarious. Like, that's why they added them, because, you know, you gotta, this is a meat grinder. And it's a meat grinder of a comic.
Well, it's the sort of dark reality of, you know, fame and you know, staying famous, you know, that's like, I think that, you know, there's nothing in some ways sadder than like hanging someone, you see someone that was like maybe a child star and now they're, you know, 35, 38, and they don't have any other skills, they don't have anything else that they can do at this point in their life. And there's, you know, it's like when we'd go to conventions and you'd see like old actors or you know, old wrestlers or something, and it's like they're just trying to not work a real job. They just don't want to, you know, it's not, and I don't mean
Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, well, I don't mean it's sad in the sense of like, you know, looking down on them, but it's like it's
the gig
kind of
that
tragic.
That's
kind of tragic because it's like there's no retirement. there's no 401k for that life. There's no,
No.
you know what I mean? Like there's no retirement plan for that life. So it's like they're just trying not to go get a construction job, because they don't know how to do anything else. That's all they've done.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
It's a weird, and that's like One-Star Squadron, I think, plays on that.
Yeah.
Which another issue of that came out this week, which was really
Jack
good.
O'Lantern not saving the people. You got those surge rates.
He's got the surge rates, man. I gotta go. They'll be fine. I'll call you a boat.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Just terrible. Yeah, and
Give
Superman
Jack O'Lantern
Superman
a
was
wee
having
bit of
none of it. Superman is not going to stand for this shit.
No, but Superman is like he's like a Karen. He's like super Karen in this. He's not actually doing anything. He's just coming in and yelling at them.
Yeah,
like admonishing.
he's
This is wrong. Like they know it's wrong.
being very
Yeah.
disapproving of
Yeah.
their actions.
Yeah.
It's like this is the problem with like kind-hearted Democrats. They think they can, they think that they can like admonish their Republican counterparts into feeling guilt. It's like they know what they're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed the previous
Don't get me
issue
started.
with the like bootleg Miraclo with the K in it that only lasts 45 minutes.
Poor Minuteman.
Yeah.
He's a junkie.
Only lasts
Minuteman.
45 seconds. Yeah.
Think about that though. If you could take a pill that gave you superpowers for 45 seconds
Yeah.
or a minute or whatever it would be, like that would be an incredibly addictive drug. Like all of a sudden you could fly and you had
That
super
drug
strength.
is called heroin.
No,
Val.
heroin does not give you that.
Yeah.
It does not give you.
Make you.
You may think you can
Yeah.
fly. I
Okay,
don't know.
sorry. PCP. Sorry, that drug
No.
is PCP.
But also just like that book's so great because of all the little touches too of like, of course, Max Lord is like some like essentially multi-level marketer, like success guru, like here's how you do it, or GI Robot just saying that,
GI Robot is the best
yes,
part of that
it's the
fucking
true
book.
star. I've killed more men than anybody else in this office. Why should I not do it?
I have to say though, I'm a little disturbed with Power Girl. Like, I'm a little disturbed by her sort of viciousness
she's
and
fucking cutthroat, man.
yeah, and it's like
she is the office fucking tiger.
yeah, I just like, man, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like Power Girl being that way, and it's just like things in this issue kind of change on her, but
I absolutely see that as, I mean, it's Power Girl. Why is she on the B list? She has a lot of fucking reasons to be fucking pissed off about the situation that she's in. I mean, it's Power Girl.
Yeah, but why would Power Girl even be in that situation?
Because it's funny.
Super powerful. It is funny, but
because it's funny.
I suppose so.
Right?
I suppose so.
Yeah. Oh, and the fucking art in this book is so on point. I love Lieber.
It fits it very
Lieber
well.
is so good.
It has just enough of like a flat realism to it.
Did he do the Jimmy Olsen book? Was that? Yeah.
But it's like he's really captured in this, like how shitty it is to work at this place. Like everyone's costumes look like crap. Like everyone, like he's really like found that sweet spot, like where he's found a way of like everyone just kind of looks like garbage.
I love
it. It is the Justice League meets The Office.
Yeah. My favorite is when Red Tornado goes up to Fox.
Yeah, playing Fox.
He's like, how's it going today, Fox? That depends. Did you come here to offer me an easy yet high-paying security gig? No. Then crap. It's going crap.
So a lot of folks out there don't know that I took a job working in security and surveillance for a while and decided it was not for me. I took a screen cap of of that series of panels and sent them to one of my best friends who still works at that company in security and surveillance. And
crap.
It's crap. It's crap. How are things going? It's crap.
Crap.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of good satire in mainstream comics these days. Like, there's some really good satire going on. Mark Russell is one of the best, I think, at it right now, and obviously Peter Milligan and there's some other
Milligan's been doing it for 25 years.
I mean, the panel where Jack-O-Lantern is like, who knows? Maybe the people on the app need me even more. Yes, that's what I'll choose to believe.
Yeah, that's what I'll choose to believe.
Oh, Jackson, a wee bit of a pickle he is.
But it also sort of explains why they're on the B list.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it explains, like, yeah, you're kind of a shitty hero. Like you're kind of shitty hero would make that decision. It's sort of a chicken and the eggs situation. It's like, are you making bad decisions because you're in a shitty situation?
Yeah.
Or are you in a shitty situation because you're a kind of a shitty hero?
Yeah, there's definitely some aspects of the boys in this one. It's like, just because you have superpowers and are good doesn't necessarily mean that you are good.
No, it's like anything else, with great power comes great responsibility. It doesn't mean you're gonna be the right guy, for the I was thinking when I was reading this book, I was like, at some point in time, technology will get to the level where essentially people will have superpowers to some degree.
Yeah, at some point.
But it will be billionaires. It will be Elon Musk and guys like Bezos and these awful, terrible people that are super insecure narcissists and sociopaths, and they'll be the ones with superpowers. And it will be us, the rest of us at the mercy of these, incredible. I mean, we already are.
They're going to be robots, man. Yeah. They're going to be robots.
No, it won't be.
Yeah, they're going to put their consciousness into robots, and that's going to be
I'm just going to be
takeover.
A GI robot in a world full of
fleshy humans, flesh bags, skin bags. But at some point, it's like there will be the equivalency of like human flight, but you'll have to be a billionaire to afford it, and they will. You know what I mean? Like you'll have, Elon Musk will be flying around town, telling us how it's all great.
Yeah, flight. Like 80 years ago, you said, "Yeah, we will one day be able to go into outer space," and say, "Well, yeah, but it's only going to be for the billionaire class."
Yeah,
and they would look at you and say, "What's a billion?"
But imagine if like
right?
Imagine if like all of a sudden a gene was unlocked and people got the powers of the X-Men or the powers of Superman or whatever it was, but it's just those people. Like what kind of world would it be if those mentalities, those sort of character, the people that are become billionaires are now superpowered superheroes, and it's scary. Yeah, they're not too far. It's far away. Did you guys read Peacemaker, the Garth Ennis?
I'm working on my segues, and I was going to say, speaking of terribly misguided, faux superheroes.
What do you mean,
Sal?
Superhero.
Did you read Peacemaker?
Peacemaker, disturbing the peace. Garth Ennis and Gary Brown.
I love that Garth Ennis is writing Peacemaker.
Yeah, and it's a different obviously they're trying to capitalize on the HBO show, which is the best thing ever.
It's probably the thing on TV or streaming services that I look forward to the most now.
It is my favorite comic book related thing of all time.
Right there with Snowpiercer.
No, fuck Snowpiercer.
We're going to talk about Snowpiercer. No,
we're not.
Here's a segue.
Anyway,
we're going to talk about Snowpiercer on ACTV this Sunday
No, we're not. All right, enough of that. Chris is muted now, so we can go back to talk about Peacemaker and not Snowpiercer, that terrible,
Yeah.
awful television show. You're still muted, Chris. No one can hear you.
No one. It's done.
It's done. It's just me and Tom now. All right, he's back. I'm just kidding. All right, Peacemaker. Anyway, I really enjoyed this book because it was a different sort of take on the character, than what you see in the TV show or what you see in the movie, or even the limited amount of time that Peacemaker has been in comics. He didn't really have much characterization, I don't think.
Yeah.
But Garth Ennis, of course, takes a different and I would say much darker look at the character and the man Chris Smith and sort of the origin and why he does what he does. I don't want to spoil it for people because it's I think it's really good and I just don't want to ruin it for anyone, but just suffice it to say, like, there's a different reason that Garth Ennis has for why the Peacemaker wants peace or what he feels peace is, and it makes a lot of sense in a different way. This is not a while it's very violent of a book and it's got some humor in it, this is not like the TV show. This is not like the HBO show. I wouldn't say if you're coming into it strictly from that, but it's really an interesting take on the character, I think. And I enjoyed it. It was kind of an origin story of Peacemaker, and I felt like it really gave him a dark sort of, or as Joe G says, a calmer but dark origin. Yes, for sure. What did you guys have any thoughts on?
I didn't get to it yet. Get to it yet. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I have it in my list of things to peruse.
I will probably read it tonight after I watch the next episode
of Peacemaker.
Yeah.
It's just straight up Peacemaker night for Chris.
Peacemaker.
It is.
We should
it is.
invent a cocktail called the Peacemaker.
Ooh, what could be in a Peacemaker?
Challenge accepted.
Well, no, didn't he have a cocktail? Wasn't it in the show he had a cocktail that was terrible?
It was heinous. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
It's awful.
I can't remember. Yeah. It was something. It was like, oh gosh, I don't remember it all. But it was evidently not very good, at all. But yeah, what could be our Peacemaker? What would make sense for a Peacemaker cocktail? Would we have? So
Peacemaker, it would be something.
He's kind of a he's kind of a hillbilly, so it has to be
I'm
bourbon,
thinking,
right?
You want to calm things down, so I would say it has to start with like slow gin.
Slow gin? That's not. Come on,
that's be like a Peacemaker.
I mean, in the literal sense, but
what are you going to give someone tequila if you want them to calm down?
Well, I mean, any alcohol is a barbiturate.
I mean,
right?
he's killing people.
Yeah, it has to be ironic. It has to be ironic.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe.
So it's got to be absinthe.
No, absinthe's too fruity tooty for Peacemaker. Come on, he's got to have.
Yeah, that's like the shade, like that's like.
Peacemaker, the TV show, it's very very 80s, so I think it has to be like.
Oh, like
Goldschlager, or Southern Comfort,
Southern Comfort, and Gold.
Jack Daniels. He's got to be Jack Daniels because he's an 80s hair metal band guy.
Yeah,
and they all drank Jack Daniels because of Ozzy.
It would be SoCo, Goldschlager, and Jack Daniels.
That sounds about right. with like, or maybe not the Goldschlager
with Zima.
The Goldschlager might be too
very 80s.
It's very 80s, but I don't know if it's Peacemaker though.
It absolutely is, because that is the kind of idiot that would do Goldschlager shots at a really terrible bar.
I'm thinking maybe Jägermeister instead of Goldschlager.
Jaeger's more 90s. I think we need to stay firmly in the 80s here. Goldschlager was the precursor to what Jägermeister
was it?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not feeling the Goldschlager. I understand it from the 80s perspective. Well, it makes sense with the hairband thing. So it does have a little flair. Okay. Yeah. Goldschlager. Okay. Goldschlager.
So Goldschlager.
What is Goldschlager got a cinnamon taste to it? I can't even.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had, well, here's the thing, Tom. It had real gold in it.
I mean,
it had real gold in it.
Real gold.
And you would keep it in your freezer. Yeah. You would always have a bottle of Goldschlager in your freezer because it wouldn't freeze. Right.
No alcohol does, but
root beer schnapps.
Goldschlager, Jack Daniels,
SoCo.
That's a lot of whiskey. That's a lot of liquor. And it's like a Long Island. This is like a Long Island iced tea.
Yeah.
Is that what we're kind of doing here?
But was
that
Zima.
Makes sense.
So it's those three and Zima.
You top it off with a little Zima.
Yeah.
It's about as 80s as you can get.
That would be and I would imagine him walking into a bar and saying, "I'll have a Peacemaker."
A Peacemaker. Yeah. I'll have a Peacemaker.
SoCo, Jack Daniels, Goldschlager.
We're gonna have to try this. Can you even get Zima? A little wine cooler chaser.
I mean, there's got to be like malt, whatever Zima was, the clear malt. What, Tom? That was your biz for a while. Is there?
I mean, that's what hard seltzers are. I mean,
yeah, essentially.
Yeah. We're living in the golden time. I mean, Zima was ahead of its time.
I guess we could fake it with a White Claw.
You might have to start it with a Mad Dog 2020 shot.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a red dog.
A red dog.
Red dog chaser.
Here you go. Raise your hand if you ever in your life drank a bottle of night. Raise your hand if you and your wife ever drank an entire bottle of Night Train.
Oh, I did, but not my wife. No. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the worst.
Mad Dog 2020.
So it's got to start
2020 and Night Train, man.
A shot of Mad Dog.
Yep.
And then you have SoCo, Jack, Goldschlager, topped with Zima.
Mm-hmm.
Wine cooler chaser.
Wine cooler or I like the Ice House. The Ice House.
Ice House, yeah. Ice House.
That is, you can't get more 80s, I don't think, than that.
Ice House.
There.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're listening to this episode, send us in your combination of the most Peacemaker cocktail.
I think,
and if we agree, if the three of us agree that it beats ours, which we just came up with, and it has to be different than ours, but you send us yours, and I'll send you a T-shirt.
You finish it off with a Bush Heavy.
A Bush,
regular Bush.
Yeah, I lived in St. Louis for a while, and that's what the guys that worked at the brewery, they would get, I think, a couple cases of beer a week was part of the deal of being an employee there. And the guys that worked in the brewery, they didn't take home Michelob, they didn't take home Budweiser or Bud Light. They Bush.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the brewery drinker, they drink Bush.
Well, it's an American beer, I think.
Not anymore. No, it's owned by InBev. But no, that's, and speaking of reaching out to us, you can do that at info@aroundcomics.com. I talked about ACTV briefly. You can get that if you are checking us out on Patreon. You can do that at patreon.com/aroundcomics. We just put out our Kill Bill episode for K Billy Super Sounds, and Sal and Will went down some cinematic rabbit holes where I was just kind of like, I'm gonna drink some tea. You guys are having a wonderful time.
Falling asleep.
Will and I definitely kind of took over that episode.
I sat in the position of a listener, and I was like, I'm just like taking notes. It's like, okay, shit, I gotta check out fucking Five Fists of what? Okay, I'm gonna look at that. And
After Kill Bill Volume 2, then like I'll probably have a bit of a dip when it comes to like Django. I won't have as much to say about Django. More so about Inglourious Bastards.
yeah.
But once we get to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, forget it. It's going to be 7 hours.
That we've already talked about. That's gonna be like a 12-part fucking episode, because this asshole is gonna do like an entire episode's worth on what was the Western that Timothy Oliphant.
Lancer?
Yeah, you'll do an entire episode on Lancer.
Lancer. I'm going to read the script of Lancer that's in the hardcover that Tarantino.
It's gonna go deep, Tom. It's gonna go really deep.
I mean, I thoroughly enjoy Inglourious Bastards. It was a great, surprising movie of like it's truly, when I saw it in the theater and I was like, oh, I guess you could just kill Hitler in a movie.
Why not?
Which I thought was such a great idea of like, oh, I don't have to actually do history.
Yeah.
I could play around in there, but whatever, I'm going to just do something different. I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, it threw me for a loop initially when I first watched it, and it's just like, oh, all right, interesting.
Yeah, it's a revenge film.
Yeah, it's the ultimate revenge film.
Revenge film.
Yeah. It was like,
and then he does it. Then he does it a decade later or whatever with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it's his revenge on Charles Manson, the Manson clan. Yeah, which I think he's done. It's done in a more elegant way, I think, in Once Upon a Time. But it's kind of the same idea. Anyway, you can hear all about that in the K-Billy Super Sounds in about 6 months or so. We're doing all the Tarantino movies.
All the Tarantino.
Yeah, I went ahead. I did watch Kill Bill Volume 2 because I wanted that real quick second hit after Kill Bill 1, and then I'll watch it again before we record that in a month. I'm saving it for the thing. Joe G asked, "What about Hateful Eight?" Oh, Hateful 8's great. I'll have plenty to say about that as well. I'm gonna watch.
In fact,
I have. Wait,
I have something interesting about that film.
I love that movie.
To another movie.
Yeah.
So I have some interesting things.
I wanted to bring up, if you didn't see last week, we announced our new Trade Talk book after we did The Butcher of Paris. And so, Tom, you I know you didn't listen to the episode. You would never do that. So I'm in a complete Wastelanders rabbit hole. I read all of the issues that came out once you guys were talking about the Wolverine issue, right?
Wolverine.
So I read all of the Wastelanders issues, and then I went deeper into the podcast rabbit hole, which Marvel Audio Studios are doing Wastelanders podcast, and they're really fucking good. It's their audio dramas. The Hawkeye one was good. The Black Widow one that's coming out now, I think, is even better. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go back and reread all of the Wasteland stuff. And this is where it started, which is Wolverine, Old Man Logan by Mark Miller and Steve McNiven. So that's gonna be our trade talk.
Did I ever tell you my Logan story?
Your Logan story? Did you beat him up in a bar once?
No, the movie Logan. The
movie, which I love. I fucking love that movie.
Great movie.
It's not this, but God, it's awesome.
It's pretty close. I mean, it's as close as you're gonna get to that.
This,
but it's Old Man Logan. But
I mean, it's not post-apocalyptic. It's just Old Man Logan.
So
but it's awesome. I love that movie.
It's kind of. I mean, not post-apocalyptic, but it's certainly in the future where things are not apocalyptic, but close.
Yeah.
I think brink of apocalypse. But anyway, so my my niece, who has a son, and I think at the time he was probably 4 years old or something like that, and you know, he would see me quite often. We would, you know, all the time at parties, Christmas, you know, holidays, around him a lot. He was watching at one point, his dad was watching Logan, and he comes walking in the room and he's like, "Hey, it's Uncle Brian." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, he thought that old man Wolverine was you."
You
I'm like,
kind
"All
of
right,
are
I'll
old
take
man
that.
Logan.
I'll take that
Yeah.
compliment. I'm going to take that as a compliment. I don't know if it was meant that way by a 4-year-old, but I'm going to take that as a compliment that I look somewhat like an old, broken down, dying, decapitated, or not decrepit
At the end.
at the end of his life.
But honestly, Logan at the end of his life still looked better than most of us in our prime.
Yeah, well, he's especially once he got that extra juice in him, that extra, you know, HGH, which you know, we won't talk about that. But
yeah,
what's his name? I can't think of the actor's name.
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Thank you. Yes.
Hugh Jackman.
He get a little boost. Did he get a little boost?
Oh, come on, Hugh Jackman, fucking 52 years old, and he's ripped. Like, come on, yeah,
great singer.
Great singer, song and dance man, yeah,
song and dance man.
But he's jacked, like 200 pounds, 220 pounds.
He's a 5-tool player, man.
Yeah, he's
does it all.
Hey, he was great as Wolverine. Supposedly he's coming back in the death of, or in the Doctor Strange, the whatever mystery.
Oh, the multiverse.
Yeah, of madness. Supposedly,
maybe he's coming back as Old Man Logan.
Yeah, well, or some sort of Logan. Yeah. Some aged Logan. If they don't, you know, if he can't do it, I'll do it. Marvel, just throwing that out there. You know, you could CGI me, just the body.
You would tear the internet
the
in half, Sal. That would be it. That would be it.
I know I'm about 4 inches shorter than he is, and not nearly in anywhere near the shape or good looking. But hey, you know, if you need someone to die on camera,
he's not super tall.
He's like 6'2". That dude's tall.
Hugh Jackman is 6'2".
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah,
Really?
he's actually big. Yeah,
he's a big guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
287 pounds, I think, was his peak. He was like 280. No,
shit.
I'm kidding about that. I don't know how much.
Oh my god,
he's probably like 190.
Yeah. Okay. We got anything else? Is that it? We good?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think that's all I got. I don't know.
Anything else? Yeah. Check out the Wastelanders podcast. They're like 30 minutes. It's a nice little bite-sized thing. They're interesting.
Hugh Jackman is 6'3".
6'3".
No shit.
He's huge.
Wow. I mean, for portraying a comic book character who's supposed to be what, 5'3"?
6'?
No, he's like 5'4".
No, is he that short? Wolverine's supposed to be that short?
It's Wolverine.
I understand that, but I didn't know he's like 5'4". Isn't that like, that's like dwarf size? Isn't
Hey,
it?
careful! My wife is 5'1".
She's technically, I think,
a little person.
5'3". Okay, so Wolverine's supposed to be 5'3".
See,
he's a foot taller.
Tiny.
Yeah, what is Wolverine?
Well, Hugh Jackman is a foot taller than that, sir.
Damn.
Yeah.
They don't make him look that big, which I guess it's the opposite of like Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah.
They make him look smaller.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, considering he was 6'3" and jacked, and like they made him look thick.
Yeah.
Like, how jacked was that dude? Like, how I wonder what he weighed at his peak.
You know, he's never gonna get in the Hall of Fame now.
No, this is true. They won't.
They're never going to vote him in.
The writers will not.
The writers will never vote him in. All right. That was fun. Good episode. Enjoyed it.
Enjoyable. It was
wonderful.
delightful Delightful.
Want to thank all of our patrons. Once again, check that out at patreon.com/roundcomics. Send us your thoughts on whatever at
Cocktail recipes.
Cocktail. Yes, we want to know what your
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker is.
What's your Peacemaker? And don't tell me it's your wife's vibrator.
I don't have any Goldschlager in the house. I haven't bought SoCo in years, so looks like I'm going shopping.
The last time I drank Southern Comfort was 1997.
Yep.
Was the last time that I.
So you put
Southern
a date
Comfort
on it.
Well, I remember because it was an event that I drank, and I hated Southern Comfort. I had friends that really enjoyed Southern Comfort.
For me, it would have been 1999.
Oh, well, right around the same time we gave it up. All right.
New Year's?
No, I was at a party at a friend's apartment, and I drank like most of a bottle.
Oof.
It's
like
mine's going to be
disgusting. It's liquid. Yeah.
Mine's going to be before 94 because once I left college, I was like, I am never drinking that shit ever again. And so I had friends that would drink like SoCo and Coke. I'm just like, why don't you just mainline sugar?
I never understood. I mean, it was just terrible.
Yeah.
Here's the Peacemaker. This is the Peacemaker according to Lafayette Travel. It's mint, cucumber, 1.5 ounces of gin, vodka, or rum. 1.5 ounces of pineapple juice, 1 ounce of lime juice, and 1 ounce of blackberry syrup.
Ours is way more terrible than that.
Yeah,
it's great. Sounds like a nice summer drink, you know.
It does. It doesn't sound
outside.
All right,
it's got a lot of syrups in it. I don't know. It's a little syrupy for me, but I want to figure out what the one in the show because it was called a Peace Train. I believe is what he called it, but I don't. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I could find it real quick. No,
that show is so fucking good.
Blah 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 blah. Oh, here we go. Peace Train cocktail: gin, sweet vermouth, white vinegar, maple syrup, pepper, and butter. Which Adebayo described.
That is amazing.
Adebayo described it as a feces drink. That is, I can't imagine that not tasting terrible. Vinegar? Why would you put vinegar
and butter?
And butter, pepper and butter, maple syrup, gin, sweet vermouth, white vinegar. That's the one that I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you been watching it, Tom? Have you watched Peacemaker yet?
I have not gotten to it yet.
You are going to adore this show.
I have one thing at a time. I'm Righteous Gemstones right now, and then when that's done,
somebody mentioned that in the. Somebody mentioned
was that Sean Wheatley maybe?
Christopher Braddock said, "Hey guys, y'all get another win. The wife and I are hooked on Righteous Gemstones. Baby Billy is such a turd, and I love him."
Nice.
After we had that conversation, Tom, I went back and restarted watching it again and laughed so much at that show. And Baby Billy is one of the great.
The thing that truly I think makes Danny McBride's brain so genius is that even though Baby Billy is a turd, there's like those moments where he does a really great job of like that line between sympathy and empathy. Like you don't feel bad for Baby Billy, but you like there's moments where you're kind of like, Like you
You understand
feel,
him. You can understand why
like,
he's
you're kind of
acting the
like,
way he is.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, like there's some, like there's a human side to, I don't want to spoil like new,
Well,
I don't know where people are, but it's moments where you're kind of like, oh, okay, like he's like a human, and like I don't know, I think they do such a good job of that on that show. No matter how ridiculous the characters are, they're sort of still grounded, like in.
At some point, they
Like,
give you reasons for why they behave the way they do.
Yeah.
They kind of, make you understand, like, this is why these people are acting this way. And it's usually in a funny way, but it's also, sometimes sad or tragic or, just fucked up.
Human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very human, very human. That's the thing. Like, I mean, you can understand it, like, to some degree. It's obviously stretched and not most people don't act that way, but we all act that way a little bit. I think that's kind of the genius of it. It's like we all have a little bit of Baby Billy in us.
We all do, yeah. A little bit of Baby Billy.
A little bit.
We all got a little BJ in us.
All right.
The baptism was just the baptism episode where he gets baptized. It's just made me laugh so hard.
It's a very good show.
So
yes,
Sal,
sir,
have you watched any of Station 11? Because that's
I did. Well, I watched the first episode.
Okay, we'll talk about it on Sunday.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it on Sunday. So
right.
ACTV. Tom, now that your beloved Packers are no longer playing the professional sport of football for the remainder of the season.
God damn, Chris, it's a long sentence, man.
You gonna start joining us for ACTV?
Just twist that,
maybe. Knife. I don't know. Yeah, damn. The Packers lost. I know.
Fucking twist it. Twist that knife.
Jesus Christ.
Is it, Tom? I'm a recovering Bears fan. Your pain is the only thing I have left.
It's a very long
is the
walk.
only thing I have left.
It's a very long walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you gonna join us on Sunday?
No, probably not.
Tom has better things to do on a Sunday.
It's one hour.
You guys start earlier. You guys start earlier than
6. Yeah, 6.
Yeah, I guess like that's crazy time up in here with the kids. My wife would not be happy with me at 6 o'clock if I was like, "See ya."
I could go talk about a TV show.
I'm gonna go talk. Well, did you just talk to these guys? Like, how much do you have to talk about?
Yeah,
like,
you talk more to them than you talk to me.
Yeah, you couldn't cover. You couldn't cover it all in the
in the hour and a half.
You already talked to them. It's like, oh no, I got more stuff to talk about. It's like, no.
You text them too. You text them all the time.
I'm gonna try and stay, married.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Maybe occasionally I will, but I'll be honest, it wouldn't happen every week.
You're obviously happily married.
Yeah. This is like ice fishing, guys. Like this is like ice. Like let's get together a second time in just a couple days.
Yeah, you don't go ice fishing twice in the same week.
Yeah,
I understand. I understand. Yeah. All right. That'll do it. Always good to see you guys. Thanks for the comments in the comment thread. You know where to get us. You know where to find us. And we'll be back for another live stream next Thursday. Right. In the meantime.
In between time,
we'll be everywhere in
and around
comics.
Oh God, I gotta end the show.
Bump.
I kind of forgot. I forgot how to end it. Oh,
Jesus.